What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to Second Street. Smash that like button and let's get right into today's video where we are talking about the 10 of Swords Chapter 7 or New Mutants issue number 13, whichever you decide to call it. Now, this is going to be a full spoiler talk here. We're going to dive into this comic book and dissect a little bit of that for you. So if you're not subscribed and you all that good stuff, make sure that you already did that, like the video and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and get right into this. We open up here on this book in Krakoa, where we see here that Illyana Rasputin is sitting there kind of overlooking, the sunrise, and she's sitting there on this little communicator device that she fires up, and she begins to talk to Scott and Nathan, or Cyclops and Cable here, and she's sitting there, and they greet each other like Captain, and he's Cyclops is kind of like, we're kind of busy, we're kind of in the middle of something, and she says, okay, like that's fine, but I'm not calling for you, I'm calling to talk to Cable, because we've got some news, and she says you need to get back to Krakoa now and bring that sword you got from the Shinjuku. And he's like, it's called the Light of Galador, Illyana. He's sitting there being just being ridiculous. And she says, no one cares what you call it or where you got it. You just need to have to go to Otherworld and fight for Krakoa with it. Okay, so just get here. And Scott's like, oh, is it really that bad? And she's explaining to his yes, and he's like, well, what's our time frame like? And she's like, days, hours, minutes. It's something like that. And she says, she's telling him like maybe and he says we'll get back as quickly as possible. And she's like, maybe we'll make some plans. And he says, you never know, it could always rain. And she says understood. So they're and obviously they're captains, like all that stuff, with the Quiet Council and all that, how they're part of the Captain Commander, like. He's the Captain Commander, and in times of battle, they are in charge of certain things. And then we get back here. We flash to on Krakoa, where we see Douglas Ramsey is sitting there with Warlock. He's sitting there having this conversation, and he's scared. He's like, I'm gonna die, because he's been chosen to represent Krakoa along with Warlock, his sword here. And we see him having this conversation, and Warlock is he's sitting there and he's saying, he's like, I'm not pulling my weight, and this tournament it hasn't even begun. Everyone else is out questing for their swords, and mine is you. And he's sitting there just kind of really doubting himself, and even Warlock sits here and tells him, you're worried about yourself, but I'm not worried. He's he's kind of telling him like, this, you shouldn't be worried about that. And they're sitting here kind of talking about, Douglas tells me, he's like, I suppose we're not keeping it a secret anymore. We're not doing a good job of hiding it. Them being, kind of in this symbiotic friendship, if you will, which is something I don't know much about their history there with Warlock and Douglas, and just I don't know a whole lot about that. So if you know more about that, let me know in the comments below. But he's sitting there telling him like, you'll be okay. I'll protect you. And he's telling him he'll be his best friend and protect him. And he says, let's go here into the forest and let's start practicing. Take that tree. He says he can work as one, swing and show what Doug Friend and self can do as one unit. And he's talking about going to this tree and hacking it down. And Krakoa was like, hey, whoa, what are you talking about here? What are you doing? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. And he says, well, one thing, chopping down trees is good practice. On the other hand, why do we have to do that to a friend? And that's something Illyana then steps in at that point and says, that's a question I ask myself all the time. And she says, she steps in here and she says, first lesson, make sure you bring a sword to a sword fight. And then she says, second lesson, raise it up. And then she begins to attack him, and she's sitting there attacking him, and as she does that, she swings and hits this tree, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? You can't hit that tree. He's into that tree love. And so she's like, she's basically sitting here kind of training him and saying that like, look, your life is going to be on the line here when we get into this championship. Like there is going to be no like the trees or anything. Like, we need to train you and get you ready. And then we get a little bit of a description here of the soul sword and a description of it and kind of what it does, its attributes and its powers and things right here. And it kind of goes into about how she created the sword and everything, and also how pretty much anybody can wield it, and it kind of will sharpen and kind of, I don't know, kind of adapt to them, but it also absorbs some of their experience and stuff as that, so it makes it stronger. And but it also says but only in the rightful hands of its creator are the sword's full powers unlocked. So basically, only as long as Ileana is using it, or magic, anybody can use it, but when she's using it, it's used to its full potential. But anybody else can use it. And then we flash back here into the Quiet Council, where we see that Douglas and Krakoa are having a discussion, and it's not going so great. And Xavier interrupts. He's like, "Excuse me, a moment." He's like, "Cypher, is there an issue?" And he's trying to deny it. He's like, "No, nothing's wrong here." And he's like, he's talking about the plan in Hellions, like this plan of Sinister's, having the Hellions steal the swords from Morocco and putting an end to the tournament to force the other side to forfeit. He's like, what if it doesn't work? And there's something that, Xavier kind of talked to him, telling him here, kind of reassuring him that, like, we don't want to put our people at risk or anything like that. He's like, I get that you're scared, but, and that's kind of what they're talking about. And that's where he's talking about Krakoa. And Douglas is telling him, like, Krakoa wanted me to present the idea before the council to someone else before going into battle in my place, so seeing if they could send somebody else in. And he's talking about, well, Krakoa's voice needs to always be heard. This is what Professor Xavier is saying. And he says, we are guests and should do everything in our power to respect that. And Douglas is telling him, like, yeah, and that's what Krakoa is worried about. Without me, Krakoa has no voice, because he's the main communications between them and Krakoa. And so that's why they're kind of talking about it. And they're kind of chopping it up about that. And that's when Xavier says, well, I guess this is where we need to really hope, and hope that that they succeed, that the Hellions succeed, that Mr. Sinister succeeds in their mission to Otherworld to stop this tournament from happening. Which we don't even know if that's possible. I mean, I don't know. Can they go with 9 or 8 or less? I don't know. But then we go here and we get this little description here of the Hoth Hive, the Vesperidae, colony queen is the regent here, and it's telling us a little bit about that. It's saying what was once a powerful and bustling, industrious hive city of Colony now seethes and thrums with fever under the name Hoth Hive, a once great industrial matriarchy now put to work for its parasitic masters. The colony queen, who appears as the representative and leader of what is now called the Hoth Hive, does not mentally seem to be the same individual who originally ascended to that seat, though she has not been asked to be called anything else. And it kind of goes in here and talks a little bit about how just a little bit about the colony and everything. And just the ups and downs of it, kind of talking a little bit about all of these things. And it's very interesting here as they are talking about this Hoth Hive and this colony here. And a lot of the things they're saying here, like an invisible predator as efficient as the colony itself, the parasite spread like wildfire. They're saying like this parasite had slipped into Hoth Hive undetected. Made Hoth Hive slipped in under just a lot of these things here, just interesting things here. But then we get back here to Krakoa here later, where we see once again that Ileana is once again training with Douglas, with Doug here, and she's sitting here talking about just trying to get his form right and everything. And they're sitting there fighting, and all of a sudden Krakoa interrupts and has a problem. It's like, hey, stop this. And she's saying like, hey, like regardless of anything, we've got to get him ready. And Douglas and Warlock are telling him like, hey, stop, it's all good. She's just trying to keep him alive here. And she's like, he's like, you have a funny way of showing it, hitting me in the face and everything. And she's like, he's like, this is my moneymaker. And she says, I'd be more worried about your face if I was preparing you for a wedding, not a funeral. But we are not, are we? And he's like, am I really doing that bad? And he's telling her, he's like, these children of apocalypse. He's like, these are the children of apocalypse. They could wield a blade before they could even speak. Before they spoke their first words. So you need to be ready, is what it comes down to. She's telling him, when the fight starts, get close to me. Just stay close. And this is when we see Exodus step in and say, she's not wrong. He's like. He says, but I tell you truly, no one will sing songs about it. No one will tell your story, for it won't be worth telling. He says, your skill is language, not battle. And he's going in here kind of telling him this stuff. And he's like, we need to send somebody else in your place. And he begins to choke Douglas Ramsey here. And he's sitting there choking him. And this is when Warlock and Krakoa, they just kind of get involved. And they stop him, telling him, like, hey, it's all good. It's all good. And Exodus ends up letting him go and walks away. And, they're checking him out, making sure that he's okay. And then we get a little description here of Warlock and about him being techno-organic, what he's made of. And we get some of his attributes and his forging. And some of these things here, very interesting stuff here that we're getting about Warlock, who is a technarch. But this comes down to a video that I talked about a while back, talking about these types of societies, and all this stuff is at play here. They're all going on in this different way, and that's kind of what we got here, going on here. And then we flash back to in Krakoa, where we see Mondo coming to talk to Douglas Ramsey, but it's not Mondo, it's actually Krakoa. And he's like, he's telling him, please make it stop. And he's like, what? And he goes, Krakoa won't leave me alone. He says, you're ignoring Krakoa, and he don't like it, and so he's using me. And this is when Krakoa comes in and says, Douglas Ramsey, he's like, I do not like communicating this way, but you left me no other option. He says, Exodus was right. There must be a way to send another in your place. You are too important to the continuance of this relationship with mutant kind. He says, and as such you cannot leave, but you do not have to die. You can hide, I can hide you, put you into exile until this is all over. It won't be pleasant, but you will be safe. And this is where Douglas pretty much tells him, he's like, no, he's like, I can't run, I can't hide, I have to do this. This is something I have to do. He's like, I was chosen. And he's like, I get that you're afraid for me. I get that everybody's afraid for me. But he's like, you have to let me do this, And he really does feel like he needs to do this. And this is where we flash back to him and Ileana once again sparring here with their swords. And she's actually telling him, she goes, you're getting better. And she says, you have gotten better. She's proud. She's telling him she's proud of him. He's like, and he asks her, so do you think I have a chance? And she says, the truth. And she goes, and he's like, yeah. And she goes, we're family, Doug. So we always have been. He says, so believe me when I tell you this. If you raise that sword to fight someone in Otherworld, it'll be the last thing you ever do. And there is not a damn thing you can do to stop it. And this is when they then show up to the little game board here, and they put their swords in the ground, and they stand on the little game board. Altogether, I don't know. I thought this issue was pretty good, but I mean, just cool things going on here as we are preparing to get into this Ten of Swords, this tournament, if you will, if you want to call it a tournament. I don't know, a tournament to the death. I don't know. It sounds like a little more than that. But pretty cool build up. I mean, this one right here, just a little bit of story of Doug and how he's doubting himself, and how they're just kind of getting everybody prepared for these battles. Again, I thought this was a pretty decent issue, building up to this stuff. We're almost halfway. I mean, we're getting close to halfway already here in the Ten of Swords. But let me know what you thought about this issue. Let me know any theories or anything that you have down in the comments below. I'd love to know all of your thoughts, and let me know what you're thinking about these videos. These style videos, I'm kind of changing it up just a little bit. Again, these are full spoilers, not the reviews. Hey, like the review, hey, I think it's pretty good. You just go, you're reading the book or you're not. Do you really need me to review it for you? Anyway, guys, let me know all your thoughts down in the video, down in the comments. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel today. If you're not already, please make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell and all of that good stuff. Give this video a like if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't. It's all good. But while you're at it, make sure you share it with your friends and invite them to come hang out with us here and hear all my bad takes or my bad theories or anything like that. And if you'd like to take your support of the channel to the next level, aside from just being here and subscribing, liking the videos, and sharing them with your friends, which I know that you are doing, right? I know that you're doing it. If you'd like to take that support to the next level, consider becoming a channel member. Click the join button right next to the subscribe button, or even click the link down in the description and learn a little bit more about the perks of membership. One of those things that we are doing with the memberships is we are going out and crowdfunding comic books. That's right, we are getting online and we are backing some independent crowdfunding creators out there. And if you would like to be part of that, get some exclusive reviews and breakdowns of some of those books that we are backing, please consider becoming a channel member. That's all I have for this video. You all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.